The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. Happy Friday to you. Happy Founders Federal Football Friday to you. Glad that you're with us. Wherever you're joining us from, welcome. As we've got a full night of football for you next couple of hours here on Sports Talk. Then, of course, the high school football scoreboard coming your way at 10:05. Round 2 of the playoffs, and now things really get serious in the high school football playoffs around South Carolina. The matchups much better than they were last week for the most part. So looking forward to bringing all that to you over the next 2 hours, then a 2-hour break, and then back for 2 more hours. Of course, looking ahead to the weekend, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Columbia, Georgia Tech, Clemson, home teams, about 2 touchdown favorites each. Will they live up to that? Take your phone calls, 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, Phil Kornblut, Pat Daniel, and Chris Bergen. And, of course, this being Veterans Day, shout out to all the veterans across South Carolina. Thank you for your service, and thank you what you continue to do. We certainly appreciate you here on Sports Talk, and do not take you for granted. We understand the sacrifices that you make and your family makes, so we appreciate everything that you have done in your lives to give us the freedom to do what we do here on Sports Talk, and that is to talk freely about the world of sports, including the news coming out late this afternoon. Of course, it's Friday dump day. You wait till Friday to dump the big news. So Jim Harbaugh gets another how many 3-game suspensions can you have in one season? He gets another 3-game suspension for the rest of the regular season because of the investigation. This is from the Big Ten, because of the investigation into all the allegations about scouting teams and stealing signals, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, Michigan responds by saying they're going to take legal action. They're going to do what they can to try and block this order from the Big Ten. So that's what we've come down to, Chris. Another 3-game suspension for Harbaugh, excuse me. And, you know, my first reaction when all of this was coming down was, based on the evidence that I had seen, the stories I had read, the pictures that I had viewed, and the fact that he is a known cheater, then why would he not be caught up and implicated accurately in this case as well, despite all the claims otherwise? So, I mean, there's precedent here for him, and he's already been suspended once. Right. So, I mean, I know it's separate incidents, but, you know, once a cheater, always a cheater, it seems to me. Cheaters don't lose their spots, cheetahs and cheaters. So do I think Jim Harbaugh knew something here? Absolutely. I just don't understand how, as a head coach, you've got a guy on your staff who is seen prominently mingling with the coaches during games, including you, standing right next to you. Don't you think? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I've never been a head coach in a college football game in front of 100,000 people. Maybe as a head coach, you're not aware of people around you.
Phil.
Now, I do know that there are outliers who stand out on the outside of the markings on the sidelines who are boosters and fans and good old boys. But inside those markings that are supposed to be for team personnel only, I mean, are you with your response to me, are you questioning my questioning?
Yes, because you've been around college football and you know how these coaches are. They know absolutely everything that goes on within their program.
Okay.
And something of this magnitude, there's no way that he would have pulled this off without the head coach knowing and approving of this. There's just absolutely no way somebody would go behind their back and go scout and personally scout and film and do all the things they've been accused of without the head coach's approval. I don't buy that in the least. The problem is, if you're Penn State, if you're Ohio State, and whomever else Michigan has left on their schedule, you've just basically dialed up Tyler and Spartanburg from Michigan, because I think the players are probably going to take this out on their opponents the rest of the way. That's why I said the other day, I think Michigan, I didn't think the Big Ten would do much, because I felt like Michigan was their best opportunity at the college football playoff. The reason I said that is I think they're the best team. They may not be rated higher than Ohio State. I think they're better than Ohio State. And I think now all you've done is add fuel to the fire, much the way that Tyler and Spartanburg sweep for Clemson against Notre Dame. And I think Penn State's going to pay for it considerably. And I saw this earlier today, too. You want to talk about Michigan having a competitive advantage. How much of, if you're going to wait until the day before and the team's actually in flight to get to Penn State before you announce that you're suspending their head coach, how is that not somewhat of a competitive advantage for Penn State?
Well, if based on the pictures I saw, it looked like he was greeted on the tarmac there in State College. They greeted him on the tarmac. And he was given the word.
Lane Kiffin again?
Really? So I don't know if he has to leave the team. Can he stay in the hotel? I don't know what all the implications are of a suspension. But, I mean, I'm sorry. Again, I can only conclude that Jim Harbaugh is running a rogue program at Michigan. You get suspended twice in the same season for 3 games. I mean, you can bury your head in the sand if you're a Michigan fan and blame everybody in the world and blame all the media for reporting on this and following this story, but it is what somebody once says it is. It is what it is. And what it is 2 suspensions. I mean, that's half the season he will spend on the sideline, half of the regular season. But here's the other thing, too. Should the team, I mean, how much did Michigan benefit, and how much were they able to take this information and help them win? Should they not be penalized from a win-loss standpoint as well?
Great question. Yes.
Because it sounds to me like this is a competitive advantage that they took advantage of, and they're claiming everybody else in the Big Ten steals signs. Well, they haven't proven to anybody else that I can tell that other Big Ten teams had a member of their staff going and scouting in advance other teams and organizing a scouting system to help their team against upcoming opponents, and also apparently, allegedly, trying to knock out potential playoff teams by helping the teams that those potential playoff teams were going to be facing. So a pretty elaborate scheme going on there that nobody else in the Big Ten seemed to be that deep into. Yeah, were they stealing signals, and were other staffs talking to other staffs after games about Michigan? And well, that happens. That's commonplace.
Oh, yeah.
That is no secret. That is nothing that the NCAA frowns upon. But this is something different.
First thing, I believe Michigan will probably take this a little more seriously. I doubt their special teams coordinator is going to be the interim head coach tomorrow, the way they did earlier in the year. Remember, they had 3 different interim coaches during the first part of the season because they were playing the Sisters of the Poor. Second thing, Clemson fans, when you're going up to Death Valley tomorrow, Gamecock fans, if you're coming over here from Florence and driving down I-20 or going up I-26 and you're speeding, if you get pulled over, just tell the police officer, well, everybody else is speeding. See how that excuse plays out.
Yeah. I've tried that.
It's the same thing, right? Yeah.
I've tried that. It doesn't work.
And then, guys, how about I don't know if you guys saw the tweet that came out today from current University of Charlotte head coach, I think I'm going to pronounce this right, Biff Poggi, whatever. He was the associate head coach at Michigan the last 2 seasons, is very, very close friends with Jim Harbaugh. His own words, they're attached at the hip. He fired out a tweet this afternoon saying, quote, "I have been quiet on the Michigan situation," and then all caps, "but no longer. I was closer to Jim Harbaugh over the last 3 years than anyone except his wife and kids. If Jim knew, I would have known. I didn't know, and neither did he. I stake my reputation on it. Stop whining and get a better team." And again, that's the current head coach of the University of Charlotte.
I'm just not buying it. I'm just not buying that Jim Harbaugh didn't know this was happening. If so, he's not doing his job as CEO of that program, because they always tell us, the post game, if a team loses, the buck stops with me, right? The head coach is responsible for how well they play. Well, he's supposed to be responsible for everything going on in the program. And I just can't believe there was just some rogue analyst that was buying tickets on his own to go to ball games so he could help scout and help improve his team's chances of winning without the coach's knowledge. I just find that extremely hard to swallow.
And one more note there. I believe currently the Big Ten is calling this some kind of unsportsmanlike, or it's a sportsmanlike type penalty is the phrasing they're using. I may be slightly butchering that. But if what you're saying is true and he did not know, couldn't the Big Ten or the NCAA then just change the penalty to lack of institutional control?
Yeah, exactly.
Because again, okay, so even if you claim you don't know, even if you didn't know, that might almost be worse. Because again, to your point, you are the CEO of Michigan football. You are the head of that program, of that team. And for you to not know that, that says a lot about yourself and the way you maintain yourself as CEO of that program.
Again, this is, I see this as nothing more than a slap on the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Being without your head coach, yeah, but you know what? You can get by. Making teams forfeit wins and costing them a chance at the playoffs. Now, that would be somewhat self-defeating, right, for the Big Ten. And maybe they took that into consideration.
Exactly.
Like, hey, man, let's don't be knocking out our team that might make the playoffs and make us, millions of dollars, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's don't think for a moment that conversation didn't take place in the offices of the Big Ten. How can we do this? How can we show a little bit of muscle but not cost ourselves in the bank? And, imposing forfeits would have been the appropriate penalty if you believe that Michigan, and what else would they receive here but an advantage against their opponents. And this is what Pat mentioned, institutional control, Pat, recruiting violations, all about keeping teams from gaining an advantage unfairly over another. Well, nothing screams louder than this, that a team gained an advantage because they had a system for going out and deciphering, scouting in advance and then taking that information and using it to their advantage against their opponent. What more do you have to do to incur the penalty of a forfeit or multiple forfeits than something like that? So I think he'll still be able to. Well, again, I don't know. Have we got a breakdown on what the suspension means? I mean, he's away from the program for 3 weeks, right? He can't even practice coach.
No. He can coach them during the week.
Oh, he can.
Yeah, just not on the
He
weekends.
coach them during the week, just not on game day.
Could he do that in the
whatever that's
previous
worth.
suspension? I thought the previous suspension he was literally away from the program and not at practice, but maybe I'm wrong on that as well.
I do not remember, but I do know the suspension for now.
Yeah.
It seems ridiculous. Yeah, you can coach them all the way up to Saturday at kickoff, and then you have to disappear.
Yeah.
And guys,
Okay.
I'll answer your question. I know we need to get to David Shelton here momentarily, but I think I have an answer to your question, or at least a thought on why it was just a slap on the wrist and no games were involved here. And I think it's the Big Ten hedging their bet. I think it does come down to the bottom line and come to money. And where I'm going with this is Michigan and Ohio State are both currently slated to be in the college football playoff. They're both in the top four. They're also both in the Big Ten East, meaning the winner of their game Thanksgiving weekend will go on to the Big Ten championship and will most likely be in the driver's seat to maintain a position in the college football playoff. Well, let's say Michigan beats Ohio State. Well, now what the Big Ten has done is they have hedged their bet where if the NCAA comes out and says, you know what, Michigan's ineligible for the postseason, but Ohio State has one loss, Ohio State and the Big Ten can argue, hey, they may not have won the conference championship. They may have a loss, but their only loss came against Michigan, who was cheating. So they should still get in. And now, no matter what, the Big Ten gets at least one of the two of those teams into the college football playoff. So they are still going to get that money in the bank for the conference.
Yeah. The NCAA has yet to be heard from here, and they're trying to keep the NCAA out of it. They're trying to keep it as a conference issue. That's one thing that Michigan and the Big Ten, I guess, working together are trying to do, is to keep the NCAA honchos on the sideline and try to make this a conference thing, which I harken back to the days of the 1982 Clemson NCAA. Tigers were hit hard after winning the national championship. They received in that investigation from the NCAA, they call that the biggest case ever at that time. But what really sent Clemson fans and the administration over the top was the NCAA handed down a 2-year probation for Clemson, which included the 82 season. Okay, so they served that. So it would have been one more season, 83. But then the ACC came in and put another year on it, making it a 3-year probation. And that really incensed the Clemson people at that time. So my point is, the Michigan people have been successful, and the Big Ten people have been successful to this point in keeping this as a conference issue and not an NCAA issue. So, how you decide when the NCAA steps in and when it stays on the sideline, I don't know. But they've been able to do that and spare them the whatever wrath the NCAA might be able to create. I'm not sure they can create wrath anymore. All right. So that is the big story nationally. We'll talk more about the games coming up. We'll give you our picks. We've got Lee Sterling coming up as well. And George, Brian, and Robbie Thames. Golf and fitness coming up a little bit later on. Right now, though, it's time to turn our attention to the high school scene, as it is a Founders Federal Football Friday night here on Sports Talk. The high school scoreboard at 10:05 tonight, starring David Shelton. I'm just here to give the scores. David is there to give the insight. And David joins us now as we go into week 2 of the playoffs. Welcome in, David. How are you?
I'm tired, Phil. I don't know if I'll make it till 10 o'clock tonight.
What's made you so tired?
Lack of sleep. That would do it.
Yeah, I understand. And, you can catch a nap at halftime or something like that. Where are you going to be tonight?
I am in the parking lot right now at James Island High School, where the Hartsville Red Foxes are coming in to take on the 11-0 James Island Trojans in what should be a really good matchup.
Yes, it should.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it should. Well, let's begin with the 5A. And, okay, Dutch Fork and TL Hanna. I think, if Dutch Fork has really rebounded and is back for this year, we're going to find out tonight up in Hanna. What do you think? This is a big game for Hanna, too, because they're having another great year. And to lose to Dutch Fork obviously would end their year, but would take away, a lot of what they have accomplished in a year where Dutch Fork has been viewed as down, but now they appear to be on the rebound.
Yeah, I mean, this is I'll be honest with you. In my mind, it's a bigger game for Hanna than it is for Dutch Fork. Now, it's obviously a big game for both teams because if you lose, you don't get to play no more. But I think Hanna, they kind of need to prove something. They kind of need to prove they can take Dutch Fork to the woodshed like they take everybody else up there. Most cases with that offense. Dutch Fork and, I mean, they're kind of playing with house money. I mean, nobody is expecting Dutch Fork to get into the finals. I mean, they're 6-5 and a lot of people have counted them out, but now they're healthy. Tom Knotts is the master motivator, and, he's probably told his players all week, nobody thinks you can go to Hanna and win, but we beat Hanna. We own Hanna. We're not going to let this happen, So I think the pressure's on Hanna. And, now, they very well could win. I think it's a very good matchup. But they got to put points on the board, and they got to prove that Dutch Fork can't stop them, because not many people have stopped Hanna all year.
True that. That running game has been pretty difficult for teams to slow down. What about Spartanburg? And I'm bringing them up because, okay, they went on the road. They haven't had the greatest of seasons, but they went on the road. They beat Rock Hill. As a result, they're at home tonight. No, I'm sorry. They'll be going to J.L. Mann. J.L. Mann is hosting tonight. So what about that matchup? Mann really trying to make a name for themselves on the statewide basis, but here comes Spartanburg, kind of like Dutch Fork. You can't sleep on Spartanburg at any time in the playoffs.
No, you can, and just like Hanna, I think the pressure is on J.L. Mann. They have really had an excellent season, and they've been pretty good the last couple of years. But you beat a team like Spartanburg. I don't care what their record is. If you beat a Spartanburg in the playoffs, you've done something pretty good. And I think Spartanburg is going in, loosey goosey, 6-5. Nobody thinks we're any good. But you got to remember they did beat Dutch Fork. back in the early part of the season, and they played a really tough schedule. Played Grayson out of Georgia, should have beat them, had a bad snap on a punt and basically lost the game. So, you know, I think the pressure, I don't want to say pressure because pressure's on everybody to win, but I think J.O. Mann has more to prove tonight. A win tonight gets them to 10-2. They've beaten Spartanburg in the playoffs. I think a lot of people pay a lot more attention to J.O. Mann if they can win this game tonight.
David Shelton with us. He'll be back with us for the high school. Fascinate me just from a tradition standpoint, and a lot of different intriguing matchups, Greenwood Northwestern being one of them. But what Irmo did last week to Colleton County, 85-0, is that as much an indictment on Irmo running up the score as it is the high school league has got to figure out a way to cut one round of the playoffs? I mean, what's it going to take? Some teams score 100 points in the opening round before we realize that the first round of the playoffs don't need to exist.
Well, I'm a very big proponent of cutting out one round of the playoffs. You know, I think 14 games is plenty. You know, they talk about kids playing, you know, year round, this, that, and the other and everything. Well, they're playing 15 games. They're playing more games than the college guys. So I would like to see a round cut out. I would like to see this at-large system. Now, granted, you take that instance and you take what Lancaster did to Ridgeview as a win team, but that is really, really few and far between. And Lancaster will not beat Lucy Beckham tonight. So, you know, they got their win. They're 2-9. They're in the second round of the playoffs. And it kind of comes down, and I get people mad at me when I say this, but do you deserve to be in the postseason if you won 1 out of 10 games? I think you can say, well, that's the way the system's set up. Well, then we need to change the system and get rid of. I mean, Colleton County had no business playing at Irmo last week, and you know, I talked to some different people, and Irmo had their starters in. They were up 63-0 at half, and their starters were still in the game in the third quarter. Ridiculous. I wasn't there. I don't know, but I was told that by a family member of the Colleton County coaching staff. Now, maybe that was just, you know, but my response was, well, yeah, I mean, that's bad if they did that, but Colleton County shouldn't have been there. They should not have applied for the at-large, because that's how you get in. You apply, and nobody else wants it, so they give it to you. And I just don't like that. I don't like that. I mean,
that's a new one on me. What do you mean apply? I've never heard that before.
The at-larges are they apply to be an at-large team because the top 4 make it.
Yeah.
You know, but they got to fill out enough brackets so they get some at-large spots. And Lancaster applied to be in that at-large group, and they might have been the only team to apply other than Colleton County, so they give it to them. You know, there were some teams that could have applied that had, you know, maybe had 2 wins. Well, you know, Colleton County had 2 wins in the regular season, but, you know, I just think it was a bad move, but I think they took advantage of the system, and I would be all for cutting out a round of the playoffs. I mean, 14 games is enough. You could decide a state champion in 14 games. I mean, let's be honest about it. You can do it.
Now, in fairness to Irmo, I don't want to take too much away from them because they're a really, really good football team. They won't play each other until perhaps Thanksgiving weekend. Are they good enough defensively to knock out South Florence in the lower state finals?
Well, I think they are. I think they can score. You know, South Florence defense is really good.
Right.
A lot of people want to see that matchup. But you know, the winner of this game that I'm at, James Allen Hartsville, will go to Irmo next week. So Irmo will have another, you know. But I think they can play with South Florence. I think Irmo is really good. I'm not taking anything away from them. You know, if you can score 80, score 80. But they're really good.
Yep. Okay, David, get some rest. And we'll talk to you tonight. 10:05, Founders Federal High School Scoreboard. Thank you, David Shelton. Back after this break. We've got the football filibuster coming up. Don't go away.
weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's your weekend forecast. Much cooler and probably wet at times for both Saturday and Sunday. Tonight, we'll have overnight showers and a low dipping to 52. Tomorrow, we'll see a high reaching 56 and a 60% chance of rain for Sunday. More showers are likely with a chilly high temp of only 52. Have a great weekend. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point Local Weather.
This is Ian with AccuClean. With the holiday season and gatherings with friends and family quickly approaching, now is the perfect time to get your carpets, rugs, and upholstery cleaned. AccuClean is a veteran-owned and local carpet cleaning company located in the Midlands for over 20 years. Call AccuClean today at 803-957-1202 to make sure your carpets are refreshed this holiday season. Once again, that's AccuClean at 803-957-1202. We hope to see you soon.
SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Suddenly, another door may be opening in Washington. Senate Democrats very concerned that West Virginia's Joe Manchin's announcement that he will not seek re-election next year frees him to possibly pursue a third-party presidential bid. Democrats currently cling to a very slim 51-49 majority in the Senate. White House says that President Biden and Chinese leader Xi Jinping will be discussing a number of regional and global issues. Two leaders will meet next week in the San Francisco Bay Area. Romania is pushing to purchase 54 Abrams battle tanks and related equipment from the United States. That in a deal worth at least $1 billion. Defense Ministry says the tanks will help its military meet regional security challenges. This is SRN News.
You don't normally call a plumber until you need a plumber. Well, if you need one today or if you need one tomorrow, I want you to remember Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. Listen, I might not know all the tricks to turning a wrench, but I do know how a plumbing company should work and how to treat people. My dad was a plumber. My grandfather was a plumber, and so were three of my uncles. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning does it right. They are the epitome of customer service. They're locally owned and operated, and Josh and his team, well, they put customer service as the top priority for Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning. I've never known a business owner more intent on making it a great experience for people. And let's face it, when you have a plumbing crisis, well, that could be traumatic. They specialize in service and replacement issues for your home or for your business. They've been to my home and fixed 3 different plumbing issues I had in the house. If you need them, they're there to help. Online at franklinplumbing.sc.com or call Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning 799-2222. That's 799-2222. And tell them Kev sent you from The Point.
Hi, this is Chris Neely, Superintendent of the South Carolina Public Charter School District. I hope you'll join Kev and me each Tuesday afternoon. We'll bring you Kids First, where we talk about educational issues and what we're doing to teach kids the right way. It's Kids First, Tuesday at 5:30 right here on 100.7 The Point.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Fran Halloran here. Now listen closely to what I'm about to say. I'm a business owner, and many of you listening right now, you're business owners as well. The first rule in owning a business is this: don't waste money. I see business owners waste their marketing dollars all the time. Not me. I figured out a long time ago that spending my marketing dollars at The Point was not only intentional, but extremely profitable as well. If you're a small business owner, you owe it to yourself to sit down with Kevin Cohen and ask him to create a custom marketing plan for your business. He's looking for folks just like you who believe in local to partner with him in 2023 and beyond. Trust me when I tell you, partnering with The Point works. You will see results and your marketing budget will no longer be wasted. Give Kev a call at 803-563-8558 and tell him the Money Coach sent you.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten.
And I'm State Representative Micah Cassidy.
Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep.
We'll talk about everything that's happening in the State House and give you an insider's perspective.
All from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. on The Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 AM.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Sports Talk on this Friday night, this Founders Federal Football Friday night. Shout out to our good friends at Founders Federal. What a fabulous job they do. What a great company. And so appreciative of their partnership with us here on Sports Talk on Friday nights. And you talk about a company that is heavily involved in the sports world in South Carolina and very much involved in high schools all across the state. We appreciate them. We thank them for being a part of Sports Talk and the high school scoreboard. Okay, now it is time to get into the phase of the program on a Friday night where we help to educate you. That's right. I said educate. I am a South Carolina high school graduate. And we bring you some of the great football and / political minds of recent time here in South Carolina. Then we give you our picks, and then Lee Sterling gives you the professional help. So we begin with the football filibuster. Let's welcome in former Governor Jim Hodges to Sports Talk. Unfortunately, his opponent tonight, Attorney General Alan Wilson, where did he say he was? In Arizona?
He's in Arizona, yep.
What's he doing out there?
Representing the great state of South Carolina. Beyond that, I am not sure. But he did say he stepped out of a meeting of about 50 people to answer the phone and let us know he will not be available tonight, unfortunately.
I do not recall giving him permission to leave the state. Have to take this up with him at another time. Governor Hodges, how are you, sir? Who was your attorney general back in the day? Would he ever leave the state prior to an important engagement like the football filibuster?
Well, you know what Alan's doing? He's actually representing Jim Harbaugh. He's getting the papers together, getting an injunction filed.
That's good. Who was your attorney general back then?
Well, the attorney general is separately elected. It's a guy named Charlie Condon, who's from down in Charleston.
Yeah. Nice fellow. I remember him.
Yeah.
Nice fellow. Yeah. No, I know everybody's separately elected in South Carolina. Except now, let's see, don't we?
And why is that, Governor?
Yeah.
Why is the attorney general an elected position?
Let's talk politics.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
shouldn't that be an appointed position?
Well, every state elects an attorney general. There are very few that don't. Now it's just a tradition that goes back to the late 1700s.
I've never understood why the sheriff's position is an elected position. Wouldn't you want like the best lawman in your county to be your sheriff?
I've got a better one, Phil. How about the coroner?
Yeah, that too. Why do you need to have an elected person to be the coroner? That's a good one. Yeah.
There are a lot of elected positions at the state and local level that you're left scratching your head about why you just don't try to let those be appointed positions. But when you do that at the state level, then it becomes who gets to appoint them, and that's where things get dicey. It's who's making the decision and who they're appointing, and that even happens at the local level too. And it always ends up screwing up efforts to reform things.
Understand. Hey, before we get started, I know that Veterans Day is also a very special day for you from your days of state government leadership. So I want to give you a chance to comment on the Veterans Day and Veterans Day weekend that we are approaching here in South Carolina and across the country.
Yeah, I was with a client of mine, a company called Veterans United, yesterday out in Austin, Texas. And we were talking at length about, they do a lot of VA loans, and we were talking about, the veterans in the country and the work they do around the country. They were doing in Texas at the time. And it just reminds you of the incredible role that veterans have played in making our nation great, and they continue to do that. I remember one veteran, and specifically my dad, who's passed away, Neil Hodges, who was in World War II for 6 years, 2 years before it started. And then obviously the war started, and he was kept on for another 4, but had some great stories from North Africa and Europe. And I always think about those things.
Well, I heard today, I did not know this. I was educated about this. I heard today on a newscast why Veterans Day is always on November 11th.
I do not know. Tell me that.
Well, it goes back to the armistice. It was called Armistice Day originally, the armistice at the end of World War I, and they did it apparently on the 11th day of the 11th month at the 11th hour. So it was 11-11-11. So, and then later Congress changed it to Veterans Day to include, veterans of all the other wars. Back then you just had the first one. So it was Armistice Day, then it became Veterans Day, but it was noted for 11-11-11, 11th day, 11th month, 11th hour, when they signed the papers to end World War One.
That's a great. I did not know that. That's a great bit of trivia.
Yeah, you listen to Sports Talk. You get educated on a number of different things there, Gov. Keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
That's why we've always been your favorite sports talk show. I remember the days when you were governor. You'd pull up to Billy G's in your limo there. No, it wasn't a limo. I think it was a Ford. And come on in and grab a cold one and sit down with us and talk sports.
We did. Those were, in the first year that we started doing that was the year Carolina went 0-11, and it was hard to get anyone over than me to show up over there.
I just know one thing: as soon as you walked in, you went straight to the bar. You got a cold one, and then you sat down. I think Kevin Cohen was the co-host, and you sat down with us and you chopped it up on some football for that weekend. So we always appreciated that. All right, let's get to the picks. So the general has not sent us his picks, so he is in absentia tonight. But he will send his picks. You'll have to pick blindly, trying to figure out who he might pick if it matters to you. Last week, both of you went 3-2, so you still have a 2-pick lead. 25-25 for you, 23-27 for him. So here we go. Let's begin. Miami at Florida State, and the Seminoles at home are favored by 14.5.
Well, let me just say, he's looking more and more like Harbaugh now. He's probably listening somewhere to my
picks. He's got our stream dialed in out there in Arizona.
Yeah, he's got his staff listening.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take Florida State on this. I know it is a rivalry game, and it's a lot of points, but I think I'll take Florida State.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't believe in Miami anymore. They've let me down too many times this year, so I kind of agree. Let's go to Tennessee at Missouri now. Missouri at home and is getting a point.
I really liked the way Missouri looked against Georgia last. I thought that Missouri played well against Georgia and showed me something. I'm going to take Mizzou. Again, they're playing at home. It's not a super home field advantage, but it's okay, and they're having the best year they've had in a long time. I think Mizzou's going to win this one.
Yeah, 60,000 plus, I'm sure. I like Missouri here getting the point as well. I like their team. They got a very good quarterback who can run, an excellent running back who can run, and a pretty good defense. Ole Miss,
pretty balanced.
Yeah, Ole Miss at
Tremendous
Georgia.
wide receiver too.
Oh yeah, Ole Miss at Georgia. Yeah. Ole Miss at Georgia. The Bulldogs, 11-point favorites at home here. And what do you think? Georgia kind of been playing with everybody, but when they have to turn it up a wick or two, they do so.
Yeah, they have. And I'll tell you, Ole Miss has got to show me something on the road. They play pretty well at home, and they certainly are good offensively, but they have let me down a number of times when they were playing a tough, important road game. So I'm with Georgia until I'm proven wrong. I'll take Georgia.
Good call. I would agree. Let's go to the locals. And South Carolina back at home, back at noon, back as a 2-touchdown favorite, playing Vanderbilt, a team they've won, is it 13, 14 in a row against? They just dominated this
14.
series. 14 in a row against Vandy. But both of these teams can't stop the pass. So the quarterbacks could have a huge day. What do you think?
This is a tough one. I really think Vandy's going to keep it within the point spread, but I'm going to take Carolina on this one. Something tells me that after the way that game ended last week, that we'll have a little momentum going into it, and Vandy can't stop the pass. So give me the Gamecocks.
So in the same sentence, in the same breath, you talked yourself out of what you were going to do because you said, I really think Vanderbilt's going to play this within the points, but then I'm just going to take South Carolina anyway.
Because I'm leading by 2 games.
Okay. You got a little wiggle room.
I got a little wiggle room, and I think he'll probably pick Carolina too.
Yeah.
Something tells me that this isn't rational, but something tells me that Carolina is going to play their best game.
Yeah.
And that we'll beat them by, 17.
I agree. And let's go to Clemson, Georgia Tech. Tigers feeling good about themselves again after last week, and they're favored by 14.
I'm going to take the Tigers. I know Georgia Tech's played better this year, and they've won 5 games. But, again, the only road game I think they've done much with is Miami. And never really a road game when you look at the crowds of the Miami game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm going to take the Tigers. They seem to turn the corner last week.
Okay, so we will skip on the amendments portion of the program. Nothing to amend since you don't know what the general is going to do. So we'll just ride with what you got. Clemson, Gamecocks, Georgia, Missouri, and Florida State. What are your plans for the weekend? Asheville, the beach, the football game, or just sitting out over in Shandon?
I flew in I was in Austin the last 2 days at our office doing some work there. So we're going to the game tomorrow. I like the fact it's a noon game. My wife and I are going to the game and looking forward to it.
Does your
entourage football tomorrow night.
Does your entourage disrupt traffic still? Like, do you get highway patrol, clearance and all that kind of stuff?
The entourage is the 2 of us, so no. Traffic would not be stopped at all if we were to walk across.
All right. Well, you enjoy yourself, and thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Governor.
You bet. Have fun, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
That's Governor Hodges and Attorney General
Does he have to
Wilson.
buy tickets when he goes to Carolina or Clemson games, do you think?
That's a good question. Do you get lifetime tickets if you're a former governor? That's good. You want to take the break first? You want to do the break first, or you want to do the picks? I'm asking Pat. Take the break. Okay. Let's go to the break, and we'll come back and give you our picks. And we don't have the General's picks in yet, so we'll have to add those when he gets around to getting to us. He's probably out there. He's out. Is he in Phoenix? Said Arizona. He might be out there at, what's that place called? Sedonia? That's supposed to be like really, really beautiful spot out there in Phoenix.
Sedona, yeah, beautiful area. But I would imagine he's in Phoenix. I did not ask. He did not say, but that's the capital, right?
I think it is. It's a big city, yeah. Okay, back with our picks in a moment.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with the family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff Program.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler-Brown. If you or a loved one are over 65 and haven't completed a long-term care planning consultation, now is the time. Did you know that if you aren't able to afford the high cost of skilled care, your assets can be rapidly depleted to only $2,000 unless you plan 5 years in advance? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity. And members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives. And as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Football season is upon us, and that means Columbia is welcoming fans from around the corner and across the country. No matter where you're from, Gamecocks love coming together for game day energy that can only be found in South Carolina's capital city. Book hotel rooms, find pre- and post-game activities, and plan your tailgate spread with local favorites from pimento cheese to barbecue at experiencecolumbiasc.com. We'll see you soon, and go Gamecocks!
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
All right, now it's time to get to the meat of the story, and that would be the Sports Talk Pick'em Challenge and the illustrious panel. How did we do last week? Well, you know what?
Not too good.
Why don't I see my added up numbers here on my sheet? Do you have them on your sheet? I don't see my
earlier.
I don't see my number. For some reason on my sheets, I don't see the results from last week.
I don't recall
them?
getting an email with that. I got the ones that show our overall standings, but I did not receive anything this week.
You sent the updated standings of last week's picks like Monday.
Right. I was
weird.
really
You
trying
sent
to
them
get
out
on
really
top
early.
of things. Yeah. I was really trying to get on top of things. All right,
So
hang
that's
on a
probably where it
second.
is.
This is not acceptable. This is not acceptable. Here we go. Let me pull this up. Last week's results. I should have it on this. Okay, here we go. I got it. So, from last week, because that's important, right? Everybody wants to know what we did last week. All right.
We're all waiting now, Phil.
Thank you. All right, so I went 1-4 last week. I really stunk. I'm 28-22. Bergie 2-3. You're 23-27. I had lunch with Dr. Rick today, and he's proud of the fact that he's within one game of the lead. He really takes this seriously. Between yoga,
second place now.
yoga and Pilates, really help him.
Good for him.
3-2. He's 29-21. Smitty 2-3. He's 27-23. Let's see, Pat 2-3, 26-24. Kev Cohen 2-3. He is our leader at 30-20. He's gotten red hot.
That a boy, Kevin.
Bobby Harton 2-3, 23-27. Fran Halloran has moved into second, 2-3 week, 29-21. Teddy Hefner 4-1 last week. He's right in the money, 27-23. Smothers 3-2, 22-28. Pete Yanitator Yanity 2-3, 30-20. So he's tied with for the lead. Jim Corbett 2-3, 24-26. Don Williams a 3-2 week, 24-26. So now
Teddy picked Jacksonville State.
Teddy,
because I'm guessing the majority of the misses were the Gamecocks, the USC Gamecocks last week.
No, he picked the Gamecocks.
We all did. But did he pick the Jacksonville State Gamecocks?
Yes. No, he picked the Gamecocks of South Carolina.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was the only one he missed.
Only one he missed, yeah. He picked the Gamecocks of South Carolina. Now, to this week's picks. So, I am going with, I'm taking Clemson, looking for a big win. Taking the Gamecocks, looking for a big win. Taking Georgia, they're going to man up. Taking Missouri, they're good. They're very good at home. Taking Florida State because I don't trust Miami, so I'm taking Florida State. Then, Chris, do you want to identify this is a rare Friday night for you being with us.
I'm enjoying this.
Unfortunately,
no more SportsTalkSC. I'm with you on every game but the Georgia-Ole Miss game. I think Georgia wins, but I think Ole Miss, because of their offense and the creativity of Lane Kiffin, I think they keep it close enough to cover. I don't think they'll win, but I think they keep it close enough to cover.
All right, Pat, what you got?
That game specifically, or my 5 picks overall?
Down the sheet.
I do think Clemson wins the game, but I think Georgia Tech keeps it close. So I'm taking Georgia Tech in the 14 in that game. I'm taking the Gamecocks as USC and the points against Vanderbilt. I'm going to skip and come back to the Ole Miss Georgia game because I cannot decide. Tennessee, Missouri, I'm taking Tennessee. Yes, Missouri is good at home, but I think Tennessee does win by more than 1 point. And then Miami, Florida State, I still just don't know about the health of Florida State's top 2 receivers. I think they're going to rely a lot on their running back. But last week, that prolific offense did not look quite the same against Pitt. And I think Miami is going to have a similar approach. Miami loses, but they do cover.
Georgia?
This is the one I am going back and forth on. I feel like last week I said I've learned my lesson against betting against Georgia. But then what they do last week, they let Missouri stay close. It's a night game in Athens, though. And the last time I remember seeing a big game at night in Athens was that thrashing of Kentucky a little while back. See, I'm talking myself into the Bulldogs. I'm taking Georgia.
You got them.
Ole Miss is better than Kentucky, though.
They are, and they put up a lot of points. But the way they throw the ball around, that could also turn into a number of turnovers by the Rebels. And I think that might be what happens. Georgia covers late.
All right, Dr. Rick is going Clemson. Gamecocks, as he said to me, he listened to Dabo. He's buying stock. And this South Carolina, he says he's picking the Gamecocks against his better knowledge. Then Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Florida State are his other picks. Smitty is taking Georgia Tech and the points. He's taking Vanderbilt and the points. And he's
Mr.
taking
Contrarian.
Yeah, he's taking Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida State. Kev Cohen, he's taking Tech. He's taking the Gamecocks. He's taking Georgia, Missouri, Florida State. Bobby Harton, Dominator of Charleston, he's taking Clemson, Gamecocks, Georgia, Missouri, Miami. Fran, the money coach Halloran, Tigers, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Missouri, Florida State. Teddy, I'm so sexy for my shirt, Hefner. Clemson, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Missouri, Florida State. Allen, the baddest boy in all of sports talk radio. Clemson, Vanderbilt, that's Smothers, by the way. Clemson, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Missouri, Miami. Pete, Stan, Yanitator, Yanity. He's got a lot of nicknames. Which one do you like the best for Pete? Which nickname do you prefer? Do you like Stan?
The Stan I don't quite understand.
I like the Yanitator.
Yanitator,
Yeah,
that's
I agree
mine.
with Pat.
The Stan is because Pete's been working in the upstate for going on 25 years. He replaced Stan Olenek, and people still call him Stan.
Oh, I got you. Really?
He'll be at a ball game and people go, "Hey, Stan, I enjoyed the sportscast last night."
Do you guys, you know how in years past we've talked about the hangover teams have after playing Alabama? It's one of the reasons why I think a lot of us are thinking that South Carolina might be able to beat Kentucky. Can
I finish the picks before you?
I thought you were done.
No, I was talking about Pete's nickname, but I still have to give his picks.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, go ahead.
Stay tuned. Pete is taking Georgia Tech, Gamecocks, Georgia, Missouri, Florida State. Jim, attorney for the Stars and everybody else, Corbett, Clemson, Gamecocks, Georgia, Missouri, Florida State. And Don, the grand papi of Sports Talk Radio, Georgia Tech, Gamecocks, Georgia. Story.
Now they're the only one who took Ole Miss?
Sounds like it.
No. Dr. Rick took Ole Miss.
Aha.
And that's it. You're the only two.
Is there a hangover effect, like we used to say with Alabama? Is there that with Georgia?
You mean
because that factors into my decision to take Tennessee over Missouri? Just thinking Missouri just played Georgia, they're going to be awfully beat up, like we used to say teams about Alabama.
Yeah, I just think being at home is going to help Missouri. I think they're good. I think the passing combo with Burden, the wide receiver, very good. The quarterback is elusive. He can also run. And that running back that they have, is it Schuster, I think? Very, very good running back. So I think they have a lot of things going for them. That's why I'm leaning that way. All right, top of the hour break. Lee Sterling picks coming up.
Someone will be right with you. The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin's announcement he won't run for re-election, throwing the door open to speculation he might have aspirations for the White House. Here's Bob Agnew.
Manchin and the group No Labels have been making overtures to each other for months, and that has many speculating his decision not to run for Senate in 2024 could really mean a third-party bid for the White House. That means a host of new worries and strategy sessions for Democrats as they seek to get Joe Biden reelected. Not to mention the impact Manchin's loss will have on his party's efforts to hold on to their slim majority in the Senate. Bob Agnew reporting.
Well, no change in former President Donald Trump's classified documents trial. Federal judge in Florida has declined to postpone his date. U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon pushed back several pretrial deadlines in a ruling today, but left May 2024 as is. Also at townhall.com, new poll from the Associated Press Nork Center for Public Affairs Research shows a deep divide among Democrats over the president's handling of the Israeli-Hamas war.
The poll found 50% of Democrats approve how President Biden has navigated the conflict, while 46% disapprove. And the two groups diverge substantially in their views of U.S. support for Israel. Biden's support on the issue among Democrats is down slightly from August, as an AP Nork poll conducted then found that 57% of Democrats approve of his handling and 40% disapproved. Nearly 7 in 10 Democrats approving of Biden's management of the conflict think the U.S. provides the right amount of support to Israel currently. Of those who disapprove, 65% say the U.S. is too supportive of Israel. I'm Norman Hall.
And more on these stories at townhall.com.
Barry, God has chosen you to have a son.
The greatest story ever told is now an epic Christmas musical for the whole family.
I won the mother found. You're in danger, Barry.
Starring Fiona Palomo, Milo Manheim, Lecrae, Joel Smallbone, and Academy Award nominee Antonio Banderas.
This child, what is his name?
Jesus. Journey to Bethlehem. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters everywhere now. Soundtrack also available. Get tickets now at journeytobethlehem.com.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com.
Veteran coach Jim Harbaugh receiving his punishment for Michigan's alleged sign-stealing scandal. Here's correspondent Gethin Coolbaugh.
The Big Ten Conference banned Jim Harbaugh from coaching at Michigan's 3 remaining regular season games on Friday, defying a warning from the second-ranked Wolverines in an extraordinary confrontation over an alleged sign-stealing scheme that has rocked college football. Harbaugh was disciplined by the conference less than 24 hours before the Wolverines play at number 9 Penn State in their toughest matchup of the season so far. His 9-0 team has a shot to win a third straight Big Ten title and the school's first national championship since 1997. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Well, pressure is growing on Tesla, this time in Sweden. Trade union there demanding the Texas-based automaker sign a collective bargaining agreement, which most employees in the Scandinavian country have. Breaking news and analysis, townhall.com.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's your weekend forecast. Much cooler and probably wet at times for both Saturday and Sunday. Tonight, we'll have overnight showers and a low dipping to 52. Tomorrow, we'll see a high reaching 56 and a 60% chance of rain for Sunday. More showers are likely with a chilly high temp of only 52. Have a great weekend. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point Local Weather.
As a kid, you dreamed of being a firefighter one day. Now, the opportunity is yours. Answer the sound of sirens. Live your dream. Become a part of a team, a family. Visit scvolunteerfire.org to find out more.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, gentlemen, Jim Corbett has informed me that I miscounted or misidentified his picks, that he took Jacksonville State and Missouri last week. I had him down for the opposite. So you give him 2 more wins and take away 2 losses, it flips his score to 26-24.
I demand a recount, Phil. Recount them all.
Well, if you find a mistake, okay, if anybody finds a mistake, you let me know. I go back, I research, and I make the corrections if necessary. But if I don't hear from you, I'm assuming everything is correct. But these people on our panel, they're so into this. If we make a mistake, they let us know. So we have made the correction for Gentleman Jim. Congratulations, 26-24. Nice to know people are really into our picking contest. Okay. So, how about his Sterling picks? We welcome Lee in. And what a week he had last week. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4-0 for Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. And Lee joins us once again here on Sports Talk to give us a few more picks for this weekend. Welcome in, sir. Congratulations, the El Perfecto.
Well, thanks. Didn't feel so good. My wife came in. I'll never forget this Sunday afternoon, and she goes, "You had a horrible weekend, didn't you?" I'm like, "No." She goes, "Why? Why?" She goes, "I thought I could tell when you're having a bad weekend." I said, "No. University of Miami lost, and the Dolphins lost, but I actually went 9-5 for my clients." So
that means you're more concerned about your clients' well-being than your own mental well-being when it comes to your personal teams.
You hit it right on the head with a nail.
That's what makes you so successful. And you don't make picks with your heart. You make it with your brain and with your knowledge, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, if I was in your job, for example, I'd be, being a Packers fan, I'd be playing the Packers every week, and I would, make my picks according, in a way the Packers are going to win the game because I believe they're going to win every game, which, of course, they do not anymore. So tell everybody what you got special this weekend.
All right, Phil. So what's interesting, this is my 30th year in business. We rate our games from 10 to 50 units. We've only had our biggest plays are 40 to 50 unit plays. We're 62 and 20 lifetime on them. We have never had 2 40 to 50 unit plays in one weekend ever. For the first time ever, I have one on on Saturday and one on Sunday. Never had that. Usually you've got to be a monthly or season subscriber to get these 40 to 50 unit plays. I'm opening it up. I'm in such a good mood. If you want to get those 2 games plus 5 other games combined, college and pros, 7 games, $117. So biggest weekend ever in Paramount Sports history. Like to come on board. Love to have you because I know if I win for you, you're going to want to be on for the ride through the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. And tell folks where to go and how to get the information.
Easy. ParamountSports.com, just like the word Paramount. Pictures, ParamountSports.com, or you can always call us here at the office, 800-400-9741.
Okay, let's get to your games for us this week. Let's begin between the hedges where Georgia's favored by 11 against Ole Miss.
I don't think the line, even if it was somewhere between 4 and 13, is going to matter. Why do I say that? I think Lane Kiffin needs a signature win. If he's behind by 7, 10 points, middle of the third quarter on, he has the ball outside his 40. As long as it's not 4th and 10 or longer, I think he's going for it. I think that's just in his manner here. I think they've got to run the football and play with a lead to have a chance to win here. I thought Missouri played extremely well last week. They had nothing to be ashamed of. Georgia's just flat out a little bit better. And I think Lane Kiffin, sometimes his too aggressive game management ends up costing him. I like Georgia. They pull away late, 34-17.
Yeah, big dog starting to eat now. They smell it once again. In the state of South Carolina, let's go to the Valley. Clemson favored by 14 against an improved and kind of dangerous Georgia Tech team.
Yeah. If Clemson loses last week, the natives not only would have gotten restless, it would have been. I think Dabo might have had 2 or 3 calls into his call-in show. But this Georgia Tech team is playing really well. They've won and covered the last 3 road games with 248, 348, and 305 rushing yards. Their quarterback, a threat running the football also. Now 14th and 13th in total in rushing offense here. I think Clemson wins the game 38-30. I just think 14.5 is a little bit too aggressive, too much.
You see Clemson giving up 30 points?
Yeah, maybe some of it's late in the game, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be wide open.
Let's go to South Carolina Vanderbilt. Gamecocks favored by 14 against Vandy, 2 teams that can throw it pretty well and can't defend the pass pretty much at all.
Yeah, I think it's going to be another wide-open game here. So the key here is to run the ball some and keep this Vanderbilt offense off the field. Once you get a lead, they've got a problem. They just don't have the depth. So I think this will be a fun game to watch, but I think that it's going to be a little also closer than 14.5. I think South Carolina wins the game 41-28, but slight lean to Vandy.
Oh, you can't give them a couple of more points to cover, can you?
No, didn't do it last week either. We had Jacksonville State, so
guys
just got to be happy with a win, Phil.
I got you. This is listen. I call this their fortnight to get right. Jacksonville State and Vanderbilt, and then you get Kentucky, and maybe you can beat Kentucky, and then you have Clemson with a chance to earn a bowl bid if you can beat them.
There you go.
Your free game, Florida State and your beloved Miami Hurricanes.
Big game here. We're going to find out if Miami in a rivalry game can get the job done. I know a lot of other teams around the country are going to be rooting for them. Another game with a high spread here. It's up to 14.5. Anyone wants to get it for free, got a strong opinion on this game, just call 800-400-9741. Again, the number 800-400-9741. First 5 callers get it for free. And if you want to hop on board, biggest weekend ever. 240 to 50 unit plays, 5 other plays, 7 plays total, $117. One place, ParamountSports.com.
Always a pleasure hearing from you, sir. Have a great weekend, and we will talk next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
Thank you. Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. You've heard his picks. You've heard our picks. You've heard the governor's picks. And any other picks to add? I think we've got it covered. We haven't mentioned basketball. Need to mention basketball. Got a lot of basketball tonight. Of course, South Carolina playing Virginia Tech over in Charlotte tonight. It's playing UAB over outside of Asheville. Well, no, I guess it's in Asheville at the Cherokee. What do they call it? The Cherokee Casino Arena? Is that what they call it now?
Harrah's Cherokee Casino, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if that's the arena, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the name of the arena they're playing in.
Yeah.
So, and other basketball tonight across the state as we look at
Check
the
that College of
the
Charleston
schedule.
score.
Yeah, we'll update that in a second. We got let's see, the Clemson women playing Charleston Southern tonight. Furman hosting Belmont. That should be a good one. Upstate going to Vanderbilt. So a second South Carolina team going into Nashville looking for a dub.
30 minutes apart.
Yeah, Citadel hosting Boston College. And you mentioned the College of Charleston, Duquesne. Duquesne jumped out to a big early lead. They were up like 25-9 in that one. It's now at the half 37-33 Cougars. So they've really turned it around after that slow start.
Down 17 at one point in time in the first half. I'm guessing Pat Kelsey had to come to who meeting with his team on the bench at one point in time.
I would think so.
Half.
I would think so.
Started rotating it. Pat brought up a good point off the air. They've got so much talent on that roster. He's got to figure out his rotation, and he may have started to figure that out in that first half.
Give you some other scores. Liberty defeated Charlotte 71-59. Liberty's coming to Myrtle Beach next week for that tournament, and we've got Michigan leading Youngstown State 37-23. Once again, members of the Michigan basketball staff advanced scouting the Youngstown State team, the Penguins, to pick up some inside knowledge. That's a joke on what's been going on with the Michigan football team.
Cradle of coaches, right?
For those who
at
didn't
Youngstown
get it.
State.
For who?
The cradle of coaches at Youngstown State.
Who came out of there?
Well, Jim Tressel, didn't he coach at Youngstown State before he ended up at Ohio State?
I always thought Miami of Ohio was the cradle of coaches.
Well, that's right, because that's where
Dick
grief,
Crum.
they had a couple.
That's where Dick Crum.
There you go. Denny Crum.
That's where Dick Crum came from. And didn't Schembechler come through Miami of Ohio? I think. Miami of Ohio had a bunch of coaches come through. NC State leading Abilene Christian 17-11. All right, let's go to the break. When we come back, we'll update some recruiting for you. And we'll have time to squeeze in a few phone calls. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Another weekend is here. Think about weekends ahead and getting away to the beach of South Carolina, and give Jimmy Smith the call. Let Jimmy and his staff find the perfect location for you, whether it's for a weekend or a week or longer. 843-237-4246. Online at pauliesvacationrentals.com. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Jimmy Smith is the man, and your perfect beach getaway is waiting for you.
Major Billy Downer here from the Department of Natural Resources, and DNR is excited to announce the implementation of Go Outdoors SC, a new online licensing and boat titling system that you can access right from your phone. Through this new system, customers can purchase their hunting and fishing licenses, renew their boats, apply for lottery hunt opportunities, and complete electronic harvest reporting requirements. For more information, visit Go Outdoors SC at your local app store.
Touchstone Energy Cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
George Bryant here with Tsunami Bar Sports, and wow, Tsunami Robbie, there is now an amazing technology that you can use when you train receiving large game without having to endure pain. Please explain.
George, that is the magic combination. I have three simple words to define that entire concept. Stimulation, not annihilation. Regardless of your training goals, there is a level of stimulation that is optimal for your desired gains. Tsunami Bar's flexible bar technology meets these demands because the user determines the level of stimulation with the amount of speed and force they impart into the bar or training device.
Hey, this is Phil Kornblut. The Tsunami Bar is a terrific training device, whether you're working on your fitness or your golf game. It's convenient, it's easy to use, and you won't feel beat up afterwards. Be sure to click on the digital ad on SportsTalkSC.com and get 5% off any order using promo code BBB5. Don't wait. Order today.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's Corbett. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Investing can be like a puzzle. There's so many pieces to consider, and it can be hard to know where to start. But with the right guidance, you can put the pieces together to create a winning strategy. That's where Founders Investment Services come in. Our team of financial advisors can help you navigate the complexities of investing and create a personalized plan that fits your goals and risk tolerance. We'll work with you to identify the pieces of your puzzle and how they fit into your financial future. Call 866-739-7064 or visit foundersfcuinvestments.com to learn more about how we can help you take the first step towards reaching your financial goals. Securities offered through LPL Financial.
This year's Carolina and Clemson Jackpot $5 scratch-off tickets give you a chance to win up to $200,000, whether you're a Gamecock or a Tiger. Plus, you can enter your tickets into the Second Chance promotion for a chance to step on the field or the court to win $50,000, $75,000, or even $100,000. In this state, winning the Palmetto Series does matter that much. So get your tickets today. See SCEducationLottery.com for odds and details. Winning and non-winning tickets can be entered. Second chance odds depend on number of entries received.
Farm Bureau Insurance's agricultural roots and ties to South Carolina farmers have shaped the company's culture and work ethic, providing a unique customer experience. Customers are treated like people, not policies. Now, while other insurance companies may have a one-size-fits-all approach to handling customers, we believe you need to be valued and treated right. Our claims professionals work until the job is done, and our agents still believe in the commitment that comes with a handshake. Call Buddy Bridges in Clinton and Lawrence at 864-923-2174 for all of your auto, home, and life insurance needs.
All right, time to give you the recruiting report tonight here on Sports Talk. That is brought to you by Seawells. And make plans next week, of course, to get out to Seawells for the daily luncheon buffet from 11 to 2. It's only $14. You'll find it to be the best buffet anywhere in the entire world. And for the best in the catering business. And you need catering. We all need catering from time to time. Maybe for a wedding, maybe for a funeral, maybe for a birthday. You ever had catering at a funeral? I'm sure there's catering at funerals. People like to eat. People like to drown their sorrows.
Well, not really at the funeral. You would have it afterwards.
I mean right there. I'm talking right there at the site. Roll out the grub. Why wait? Have it waiting for you right there. Anyway, I'm being foolish.
It's got dark quick.
The folks at Seawells will do your catering anywhere you ask, or they'll host at their location on Rosewood Drive, 803-771-7385, online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. So let's talk about a prospect Clemson is involved with in the 2025 class, and he is a wide receiver out of Beaufort, Georgia. Jordan Allen, he picked up a Clemson offer back in September on a visit for Florida State, 5'7", 170. He's got Georgia, Florida, UCF, and Louisville, other offers at this point. He was on campus for the Clemson win over Notre Dame as well, and that gave the staff another opportunity to make an impression with him. He really likes Coach Grisham, and he said that Tyler Grisham tells him he's a Clemson guy, so they seem to like him quite a bit. And he is one of two receivers with offers from Clemson at this point, the other being Cortez Mills. And so the Tigers are kind of making them their point of emphasis in recruiting receivers right now. Allen has been to Clemson, Auburn, Tennessee, Georgia, Duke, North Carolina, and UCF, and he plans a return visit to Clemson this Saturday. And so the Tigers obviously are finding themselves in pretty good shape with him at this point. One of Clemson's remaining targets for the offensive line in the 24 class will take his official this weekend. Offensive guard Elijah Thurman, 6'5", 275 of Hinesville, Georgia. He camped at Clemson last summer. He visited unofficially for the Florida State game in September. He is scheduled for an official USC next weekend. He also has on his short list Duke, Central Florida, LSU, Missouri, Georgia Tech, and Florida. He was recently invited to the Under Armour All-American game. Also scheduled for an official to Clemson this weekend is linebacker Bradley Shaw, 6'1", 216 of Hoover, Alabama. This according to Paul Strelo of Tiger Illustrated. Shaw made officials to Arkansas and Notre Dame in the summer. He also visited Clemson for their recruiting weekend in late July, was back for the Florida State game in late September. Auburn has also been a major component of his recruitment. USC offered safety Cam Dooley of Valley, Alabama. He was previously committed to Missouri, He's also picked up offers from Georgia Tech, Missouri, Wisconsin, and Maryland. Running back Anthony Carey of Tampa plans to visit USC Saturday. He's been a Michigan State commitment, but with the turnover up there, this could be a player who comes back into play. He had the Gamecocks on his short list when he committed to the Spartans in June, along with Notre Dame, Ole Miss, North Carolina, and Oklahoma. 2026 quarterback Bryson Riggins of Seal, Alabama, plans to visit USC on Saturday, has an offer from Ole Miss. USC target 2025 receiver David DeGraff Rodriguez of Providence was offered by Duke. USC basketball target 2025 6'5" Jameer Jones take an official visit to Providence this weekend. And new USC signee 6'9" Oku Federico will play 4 games in South Carolina with his team from Drive Basketball Academy in Finland this January. They'll play at Ben Lippen on the 2nd, Wren on the 3rd, Gray Collegiate on the 4th, and Wilson on the 6th. There you go with recruiting tonight. Here on Sports Talk, remember to check it out on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and also on Twitter, use the hashtag STRecruiting. All right, got a full bank of phone calls late here on a Friday night. So let's go to Rodney in Mount Pleasant. First up tonight on Sports Talk. Thank you for waiting, Rodney, and welcome in.
I got a full bank of phone calls.
And you got to turn your radio down, Rodney.
Let's go to
Okay, let's put Rodney back on hold. I don't like hearing myself. So we go to
swing and a miss.
Yeah, it's okay. We're going to go to Gamecock Larry. Is he next? Yeah, Gamecock Larry over in Swansea. Yes. Hello, Gamecock Larry. You've been waiting a while. We appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, short and sweet. Gamecocks 44, Vanderbilt 17. And double Gamecock Larry from Swansea, South Carolina. Tigers 31, Ramden Rick 34. That's all I got. Yes, sir. Ramden Rick go laid on the Tigers double. Go Gamecock Larry. I ain't Kyle from Spartanburg. I'm Gamecock Larry from Swansea, South Carolina. Go Gamecocks all the way. Talk to you later. Love all y'all. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Larry. Same to you. Surprise, Larry likes the Gamecocks, and he likes whoever Clemson's playing to beat the Tigers. Surprise, surprise. Let's go next to Andy. Is that right? Andy in Columbia. Andy, got about 2 minutes. Fire away.
Okay. Good evening, fellas. First off, I want to say thank you to the veterans out there, their spouses, their children, and their parents for giving us the privilege of their service. And I really appreciate that. Not to mention the number one veteran of Sports Talk Radio who just was on, Gamecock Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
So I want to thank them all very much for what they did.
Was he World War I? Was Gamecock Larry World War I? No.
I think he was in Korea.
Okay.
Sounds like the Revolutionary War.
Hey, that's just a badge to put you back there.
And Larry, we say that with all due respect.
But I say that with all my heart to Larry, that I just really appreciate what he's done, and I enjoy listening to him, even if I wasn't a Gamecock fan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Corn, the other question is...
Got 20 seconds.
Of course, you forgot your wallet today when you were with Dr. Rick, is what I hear. So, once again, Corn takes someone to lunch but forgets his wallet.
You know, that's a very convenient excuse to have when one is supposed to pick up the check.
What do you think about the basketball game tonight, the Virginia Tech, South Carolina game? I haven't heard much about it anywhere. I was wondering what.
And that's the problem with basketball the first week of November, or the first week and a half. We're all into football. I don't know enough about these two teams to even know who might win.
That's our fault, not the teams.
No, that's true.
Yes, it is. That's our fault. It's not the teams. We need to promote it more.
Well, They need.
There's
to
a good
agree.
game tonight.
Agreed.
Yeah, but
that could be a really, really good basketball game tonight.
I got to hit a break. We'll be back. Don't go away.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's your weekend forecast. Much cooler and probably wet at times for both Saturday and Sunday. Tonight, we'll have overnight showers, a low dipping to 52. Tomorrow, we'll see a high reaching 56 and a 60% chance of rain for Sunday. More showers are likely with a chilly high temp of only 52. Have a great weekend. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point Local Weather.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat Place. Just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. House Speaker Mike Johnson facing his first big test as he tries to win GOP support for a short-term funding plan to avert a government shutdown. Federal agencies making plans for a shutdown that could shutter government services and halt paychecks for millions of federal workers. It's a disruption Johnson says he wants to avoid. Lawmakers, though, leaving Washington over the weekend without a plan. Huge numbers. Federal Trade Commission says consumers lost $8.8 billion to scammers last year. Older Americans lost the most money compared to other age groups. Authorities in Mexico say women's prison being plagued by food poisoning and very poor medical care. Authorities say at least 8 inmates have committed suicide in the last 3 months. This is SRN News.
It's November, the time to knock out that Christmas wish list. No better place to start than at Shooter's Choice on Sunset Boulevard in West Columbia. Come and experience their new showroom. It's massive, it's awesome. And now, shopping is an easier experience for you. The selection of new firearms and accessories for your wish list, well, it couldn't be any better than it is right now at Shooter's Choice. Hey, you're not sure which hunting or home defense firearm is the best for you this holiday season? Let the experts at Shooter's Choice guide you to your best decision. See, their staff is hands-on with experience. They know guns, they hunt, they shoot. They can answer your questions on personal defense weapons, on rifles, pistols, and even shotguns. Plus, November brings you great promotions. Henry rifles, CVA rifles, Bergara rifles. They'll all be visiting to spice up your seasonal wish list with unbelievable discounts. Check out Shooter's Choice on Facebook for daily deals. And if you're undecided, then gift cards are perfect. They make great stocking stuffers. And listen, there's plenty of ammo in stock right now. And trust me, another ammo shortage is right around the corner. You want to get that taken care of. For your Christmas wish list, make your first choice. Your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
The AARP Fraud Watch Network can help you keep yourself and your family safe. To learn more, visit aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork for news and tips on how to spot common scams and to learn about and report scams in your area.
Hey, honey, do you remember if Dad took his meds this morning?
You know, I'm not sure.
He isn't either. Keeping up with his meds
this show has been international before, and here we go once again.
I love it. I love it.
And it's this is the island's beautiful, and without a doubt, golf is it's gorgeous golf, beautiful ocean, blue-green ocean, and then but the people here are so warm and embracing. They love not just their island, but they love the tourists and they love each other. So hey, it's beautiful, but the hearts are even more so. And just a little warning here now. The service, my cell service can be as it is now, but then there's dead air. So then let's go ahead and bring Tsunami Robbie on if he's with us tonight.
Well, as we bring him in, let me update the leaderboard there where you are, because we got a lot of locals there. So as Robbie gets on board, I'll tell you that Alex Noren leads at 15 under after a 66, and then Ryan Moore and Satoshi Kodaira, Ryan Brem, they are all at 13 under par. As far as the locals go, Doc Redman, 66, he's 11 under. DJ Trahan, a 70 today, he's at 9 under. Ben Martin, a 70, he's at 7 under. Lucas Glover, a 65, he's at 7 under. Andrew Novak, a 70, he's at 5 under. Kyle Stanley, a 69, he's at 5 under. Wesley Bryan, a 64, he went low, he's at 5 under. George Bryan IV, a 69 yesterday, a 68 today. He's at 5 under. William McGirt, a 67, he's at 5. Scott Brown, a 69, he's at 4. Tommy Gainey, a 75, he's at -1. Jonathan Burt, a 72, he's at -1. Chris Baker, a 70, he is even par. It says the round was suspended. Projected cut is -5 right now. So the two Bryan boys, before we go to Robbie, George, your boys are right there on the cut line. Why was, it says round 2 suspended? Was there some weather or darkness or anything that has interfered? As I scroll through I see just maybe a couple of players down the list who have not finished their round. So anyway, you got both kids sitting right there on the cut line.
Yeah, it looks like they're both going to play on the weekend. It's at this point, I think it's impossible for them to get knocked out. And the days are very short. Field is large. They start early, 6:45, 6:50, I think is the first time. And with the number of players in the field, it's just they can't get it all in. Sun goes down, and it falls like a rock. It falls like a rock, probably in the 5:20, 5:30 category. And so, but it's been absolutely gorgeous here. And let's welcome Tsunami Robbie. I heard you all had some fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure Phil is gonna bring out the news. I'm not gonna burst the bubble. I'm gonna wait for the announcement. The course record at the scramble has been set, and guess who owns it? I'll just say the name and then I'll let him talk about the score. Phil Kornbluth is the course record holder at the scramble.
Well, now, it was set up for me to play the first official. Now, George, as I did mention it last night, Robbie, I couldn't hold back. So we set the course record at 2 under 16, 2 under par 16. So, George, you probably were shocked that it came in at under par. I had to roll in a couple of lengthy birdie putts to make it happen, but I got it done.
That is pretty amazing. I'm proud of you, and I didn't see it coming. I'll have to admit that is impressive. And was the format one club, or did you use a putter?
Robbie gave me the choice. I chose to use my stick, my my trusty putter that I've had for 30 years. It's a Ray Cook. It's a Ray Cook model, circa
all right, so
1992.
Okay, let me break in. Let me break in because in the professional division, at least in the format that we're going to probably point towards for those, is just one club. You only get to use a wedge. Now in the amateur division, the wedge and the putter is permitted. So it is a significant difference.
Well, now Robbie used his wedge. He putts very well with his wedge.
Well, first of all, there has to be an attest. There has to be two players playing to attest the score.
Yeah.
Can't set a course record, nor can you have a hole-in-one by yourself. It must be attested. And so it does sound like this is an official course record. Phil, have you got any other course records to your name?
This would be the only one to this point. I hope to set a few more. But let me say this, too. I don't know if you saw this news. This was carried by the AP and Reuters, that we named the bridge that carries you onto the first fairway from the first tee. We named it the Robbie and George Gorge Bridge. A little ditch, which I called a gorge. That little ditch is a gorge. So it's the Robbie and George Gorge Bridge. Because every famous golf course has a bridge named after somebody, doesn't it?
I guess so. And that's pretty good there.
Yeah.
So, and that I have to admit that these small snapshots of golf, I think golf needs it, especially if you're going to get. It's not just for new players in the game, but players who value time. It's a great little course to help folks learn how to play fast. And if you play fast, if you learn to play fast, you'll play better. It's pretty cool. You can get in 18 holes. How long did it take you to play 18 holes?
Well, how many rounds, Robbie? We did about 5 trips around, I think, before we undertook the counting round. Is that right? Did about 5 practice rounds?
Yeah, I'd say that's correct. Probably got in 5, and then we went up to the top and just decided, okay, this is it. This is the one. We're digging in. We're going to stay focused like a laser beam, and we're going to post a score.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. George, y'all have done a great job out there with that thing. It's just a lot of fun. I tell people to, if you're in West Columbia on Chris Road over there, go by Tsunami Bar Sports. And I mean, you guys are going to have a plan, right? You just can't walk up there and play. I guess you're going to have a plan about how people can access it.
Oh, absolutely. We'll come out 2024 with formats, and right now there are a couple of things that it could have been done this week. Didn't sound like I talked to our captain Mike Ramsey. It sounds like he was playing golf. I'm not sure those wrinkles were out. Just little things, just a little housekeeping before we open it up for official play. And Robbie, you would know more. You would have us updated, but it didn't sound like to me the house cleaning had quite been complete yet. And 2024 will be the announcement probably over the Christmas, between Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays, which is right here at us. It's artificial turf. Neat thing is, it'll be 365. Beautiful putt, just like you found it, is the daily, what you find every day.
Mm-hmm.
And greens are nice and smooth. Again, 5 minutes, 7 minutes for 6 holes, and I'm
there is the one green. They are smooth, but there is the one green where the what got under that green, Robbie? The mole
cricket.
Yeah.
Mole cricket. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's one of the house. I'd say that's under the housekeeping.
I imagine somebody out there like in Caddyshack chasing that mole around that wooded area there with a stick of dynamite trying to blow him up. At least that's what I imagine in my mind.
We also there's a few other things that we need to complete out there, but get out and work on small swings that help translate into the larger swings and golf ball control and fun If you learn through the small swing, you'll learn how to do it the right way. If you learn how to do it the right way, golf can be pretty easy. And that's what we're about to prove in 2024 is just how quick, easy, if you want to make a change, it can be done, or if you're or if you're a veteran and you just decide you have a dream or a goal, you come out, work on the short shot and develop a little more skill, and that breeds the longer ones. And so there's a big misnomer out there that the game can be difficult, but 2024, we're going to show the world otherwise, right, Tsunami Robbie?
Oh yeah, looking forward to it. The short course, just like you said, we just got a couple little things we got to do. Really won't change any of the aesthetics of the course as it looks right now, outside of putting up the rules of play sign that's going to be right there posted at number 1, and the inside part, which Phil got to take a look at that, where the simulator room is, and the big screen to hit into there, and the putting floor, and then the putting surface out front, 900 square feet out front. So everything's looking good. It's on track, and it's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Hey, George, let me ask you quickly. I know you don't like to dominate your show talking about the Bryans, but I have to, because you're over, you're in Bermuda, and you got your 2 boys there, and you got George playing in his first, George Bryan the 4th, his first ever PGA event, which is very exciting, and he's hanging in there at -5. I'm just looking at some of his numbers. He's had 7 birdies, and he's had an eagle. He's had 4 bogeys, no doubles, nothing, no others. So that's good. What's it been like for him? What are you seeing in his game? How's he handling, being out there among the world's best now on the PGA Tour, giving it a shot?
Well, he's 35 years old, and I'd say a good portion, at least a third of the field, he has competed with for a number of years, just not he competed through junior and college golf for a number of years, and there's a fine line between where he has played professional golf and where the PGA Tour is. He finally got a chance to cash that ticket and walk his dream, and he's discovering he's pretty good, and it's what most out there don't really understand. And they can look at the cut lines, and they can look at, I think it was one of our locals. You mentioned he was 4 under. Tommy Gainey had a rough day at 1 under. And what I can offer is this: we're talking about players just in a tour event. That's pretty incredible, their skill level. And then when we discuss making a cut, and I'll just throw it out. And I know that there'll be folks that are, especially if they've got amateur stripes, and they go, well, I'm one of the club champion is this, or the state amateur champ is that. I can just tell you, the best in the world is just different. Yeah. And just to make a cut is spectacular. And let me repeat that. And it's not just because George did. It's spectacular golf if you can make a cut on the PGA Tour. And at the same time, I did just brush by him a second ago and said, hey, listen, son. He said, hey, Dad, you never made a cut. And I only played in 2 events. He goes, Dad, you never made a cut. At least I made a cut. I said, yeah, but I never got a sponsor's invite either. I had to qualify.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool. Wesley's been he's just not been on his game of recent. I'm pretty sure had George not been here, he would have the weekend off in Bermuda. But that little sibling rivalry that brought it out of Wesley. There's absolutely no question. He could not have botched up an easy day yesterday. And he shoots a couple over par on a day when everybody was just blowing the doors off of it. It was really easy, comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
The rough is not deep here right now, so you can play golf off the side of the fairways. But so he's well back, very close to last, which is somewhere he spent some time there. And today, without a lot of game, still not hitting it in the fairway or in the center of the face, he figured out a way to shoot 64. And today was a little more difficult. The wind was up, and
well, he drove
George,
it. I'm looking at some of his numbers. He drove it well today, apparently. Averaging
Wesley?
from looking at his, it looks like he had a long drive of 296. His putting has been good based on the stats that I'm seeing. He's like 10th in putting after 2 rounds.
Yeah, no, the putting is definitely good. The scrambling, spectacular. The full swing, not so much. Regardless of what the stats or shot length said, he's a lot of off center balls that are not crushing. I mean, yesterday he makes a triple and a double. When I didn't even realize I didn't know you could hit the ball where he hit it. He had a stretch of 3 swings. He called them passes. I made 3 passes and I had 4 penalty shots.
Ooh.
I don't know how you do that.
Ooh.
And I was out there watching it and still don't know how that can be done. But on the other hand, George is just center cut. Everything's solid, and it's probably in the golf of his life. And the players that he was playing with Peter Quest. Now, there's a young fella that I think the world is going to learn more about. He's a qualifier. I don't think still don't think he's got a PGA Tour card. He'll have it next year, but he's still playing with limited status. And this kid is good. I think he's out of BYU, or I could be wrong about that. I was really impressed watching him. I'd read about him. I don't know how many events he's qualified for, but I want to say at least a handful of 6 or 8. But he's earned everything just out of no category. What really separates golf from some of the other major league sports or professional sports is it's still a game that almost anybody can come into, just about like G4. G4, if he were to get hot and just play his best golf, there's a chance he could win this event with no status. Freddie Wadsworth came from nowhere in 1986, won the 1986 Southern Open, and all of a sudden he's a world-class star. Monday qualified and won. Pretty daggum spectacular over Gamecock. So it really, and George and Wesley are not the first brothers to play. I remember number of them, the Strange brothers. Let's see. Byram, the Byram brothers.
Yep.
Kurt and Tom, they were really good. Both of them won, and I think both of them won. But anyhow, for this dad though, it's a lot of fun to see both boys. And the PGA Tour. At first, I was a little upset they didn't pair them together, but then I got to thinking, that's probably a great thing. And they separated them by one group, still let them play. One group separating, teed them off both same sides. So they were close, but not too close. And I think at the end of the day, I think that's probably why both of them are playing this weekend.
And George, just to jump in real quick, maybe that as we're talking about your boys, maybe eventually they'll become like the Bryan brothers, Bob and Mike, who are the most successful duo all time in tennis on the double circuit. But I love following your boys on Bryan Bros Golf and Bryan Bros TV. They have great social media accounts on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those different things. And I saw recently George, the guys were out on a course, and George was giving a step-by-step how to approach a par 3 and what his mechanics are walking up to a tee when he's on a par 3. And it's all being recorded, I'm assuming, by Wesley. And sure enough, George walks up and is like, all right, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, watch me. And then he hits it, and he hits a hole-in-one. And it was one of the most amazing things I've seen. It went wildly viral. I'm sure you've seen it as well. But what's it like aside from just watching the guys play on the PGA Tour or on a minor league circuit, web.com, whatever? What's it like seeing their social media as well, and just all the different areas of their game?
Well, the easiest way to answer that is I don't understand social media that much. I do understand the golf. That happened here in Bermuda, and from a golf standpoint, even outside of that, G4's kind of temporarily, I'll say, a golf star here, and that is it's quite humbling though to know that as many people follow them and know about them as they do. And the one thing I can say based on what I see or know about social media and the way they are, it's about one and the same. They don't have a stage presence, but it is quite humbling that they have attracted that much interest. I don't even know what to think about it either, other than it's humbling.
Well, I think that, Robbie, I'm sure one of the proud moments for Wesley was not too long ago when he made a tour around the Scramble and he birdied all 6 holes. Now, that was unofficial. The course wasn't finished. It wasn't open. Thus, it's not the record, which I own. But to go out and birdie all 6 is pretty impressive.
You are correct. That was unofficial, but I was there. And Wesley was playing with 2 other really good, accomplished golfers. And Scott Stevens was inside the Tsunami Center with we were in there working out and talking about working out and getting fit and using the Tsunami bar technology. And the door burst wide open, and Wesley Bryan comes in, thumping his chest like King Kong, and announced to the world that he had just been around the Scramble. And 12, he birdied every hole. And his two playing partners came in and said, they're shaking his head going, yeah, we saw it. He did it. So he's a very talented young man. He's a lot of fun to be around. And those guys out there playing in Bermuda, I was out there playing today too in a little tournament, and tried to keep up with it hole by hole as much as I could. And they got to the 5 under, and they finished early. They played early today, so they were done. And seeing them hang on to make the cut, fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, George, you want to sign us out?
A lot of fun. I certainly appreciate the opportunity. Until next weekend, you guys have some fun. Tee 'em high, but shoot 'em low.
Thank you, George. Have fun there. Good luck to your guys. Thank you, Robbie. Great seeing you yesterday. See you again soon. Chris, thank you. Have a great weekend with Coastal. Don't forget the scoreboard coming up at 10:05.
Local in the morning, afternoon, and evening. Columbia's local talk radio experience. 107 The Point. MakeThePointRadio.com. The Point. The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
And she might not be filling up the scoring